My ancestors and spirits don't give a fuck if I buy $5 roses for them. Folk magic is about what is accessible to you. The history of folk magic comes from folks who were peasants, who were struggling, who needed access to medical care, money to get bills paid, good harvests. Money magic, to me, at its core, is about creating prosperity where there may be limited access. Folk magic is about resilience, resistance, and leveling the playing field when there are systems of harm in place. My favorite spirits request pennies, chocolate, candies, and things made in their honor. Some of them do request very specific liquors or offerings that are more expensive, but I was taught that if I don't have the money, they get that offering when they bring that money in for me. If my spirits want expensive offerings, they have to help me get to a specific place where I can spoil them. Offerings to spirits are so much more than money. You can give them a first bite of the food you make, create magic with them in mind, devote days to them, keep their space clean. Some of the spirits who help me the most in matters of money just request a public recognition and a public thank you when a petition is fulfilled. This is why I think the conversation around not trusting broke witches or broke witches having no real power is so ridiculous, because it completely ignores the history of folk magic and of witchcraft. Overall, I want you to remember that it's not about the tools or materials you have and how expensive they are, but rather how you create relationships with those spirits. In my opinion, what makes a good witch and a folk practitioner isn't how much money they have or, where they are financially, but rather how they move through the world, how they treat others, how they stand up when things need to be changed. The spirits they walk with and how they treat them, as well as how they treat their community. Instead of placing odd parameters on what makes a good or powerful witch, maybe it's time to get off the internet and get into community.
Wait, is this fucking play about us?
Anything spooky is the devil, and if you practice witchcraft, you're going to hell. That cardinal over there is my Meemaw's spirit.
Okay, got it. Still sucks.
I thought it was great.
Have you been standing there the whole time?
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. I had no idea you were there.
One of my favourite protective amulets that I make is a rowan cross that you can hang above doorways, windows, mirrors, or even above your bed to prevent nightmares. Rowan tree and red thread is a cultural tradition in Scotland that helps to ward off negative energy. Historically also used to ward off evil witches. I like to use it in my practice as I feel it really connects me with the ancient culture of Scotland. The making of a rowan cross is a layered process similar to some methods of seining. The collecting of the items, the making of the object itself, and the positioning when you hang it all have their own individual prayers and incantations that you would speak over the material and the location that you're hanging your object. The cross can be very simple, but ideally you're looking to make it in the shape of an X rather than a Christian cross. In Scotland, you will see your flag is the Saltire flag, which is an X from corner to corner, and that's what you're looking to make. Incidentally, a seining practice that we have to make something purified and sacred, we would mark with our thumb in the shape of an X while saying the word sain, S-A-I-N. You can make your knots simple, like this one. You can make them slightly more complex, almost similar to a Bridget cross. Or if you have no skill at all with threads, you can just have the wood and the red thread together. Over the years, I have used different trees for their different properties. Linden trees grow abundantly where I stay, and they are said to help mend broken hearts. And I have used the wood from a linden tree and pink thread, which is representative of love, as a protective amulet against broken hearts, or to help with broken hearts. I thought it might be a nice type of practice that if you're from Scotland and had never heard of it, or have Scottish heritage or Scottish leanings, and you like our culture, it might be something that you can do in your own area, finding either rowan trees if they are native to where you are, or any other protective tree that grows locally to you. This is a Scottish cultural practice, and like all cultural practices, you should respect them. But nothing in Scottish culture is a closed practice. I would encourage you to find local trees to you that are significant to your area. Write your own prayers and your own incantations when you gather the items. Create the knot and hang in its final location. I would always encourage you to make your own amulets for your own energetic protection for your home. I have used and made these for at least 20 years. It is coming up to Beltane, and maybe a good time to refresh your wards in your home. If you are interested further in any Scottish cultural wards and charms, in the link in my bio I have attached a link to 2 PDF books about Scottish cultural practices that you might find interesting.
You're a witch? Yeah. You know that's crazy, right? I'm just practicing spirituality in a way that's comfortable for me. Yeah, but it's so wrong. I'm doing things my ancestors did, and probably your ancestors too. What? My ancestors were Christian. Did you have European ancestry? Mediterranean? Pre-colonial? A lot of that traces back to pre-Christian, pagan, and folk traditions, which means that they probably practiced this long before Christianity came into the picture. Well, it's against the Bible, and I'm not okay with that. Actually, the word witch in the Bible is a mistranslation. The original Hebrew often refers to things like poisoners, deceivers, or people abusing power, not spiritual folk practices and ancestral traditions. Well, yeah, but it was also used to demonize the indigenous and traditional folk practices after institutional religion and colonization. So what you call witchcraft today was everyday life for generations. So respectfully, not everything that was labeled evil is evil. Sometimes it's just misunderstood.
You may know these as hagstones, but in Scotland we use these self-hold stones as a charm against a female ogre named Mara, who was thought to bring nightmares and crush you in your sleep. These mere stains seem to be a protection against what we now call night terror, and stepping into the light half of the year at Beltane is a great time to make your own. I like to breathe into the mere stain 3 times to awaken its spirit, as warmth and breath were ancient signs of life. Then speak this incantation: Stone of hollow, stone of sea, by hole and breath ward well for me. No ill shall ride, no shadow tread, no nightmare cross this house or bed. Mare be gone, dream be bright, by stone I shield, by stone I light. The mere stain can be hung above your bed or over your hearth, where protection from the Mara is needed.
snake shed used in witchcraft? Hi, if you've never seen me before, I'm Wolf, and it was highly requested by a lot of you guys that I do a series on what I practice, which is a form of folk magic. And so I'll be telling you some things coming from my perspective. I'll make this a series, okay? We'll do multiple things, but we're gonna start off with ingredients. Because it's the Halloween season, I thought I would start off with an ingredient that's deemed pretty spooky. But it's literally like the least spooky, but it's if you're not used to being spooky. How is snake shed used in witchcraft? When it comes to any sort of ingredient that's used in spell work, things like that, you need to think about, what does it represent? And this can be like having to do with correspondences and things like that, but also symbology. And what do we think of when we think of snakeskin? We think of transformation, we think of renewal. It's also used with protection, you know. So how would I use snakeskin in magic? I use this in protective magic, and I also use snakeskin in anything that involves change. If we want to renew something, if we want to transform something. Very good for kind of wards that involve transmuting things. Very good for stuff like that. How do you use it? You can burn it, you can put it in incense, you can use it also, very easy to, depending on how big the snake was and how intact it is. I live in the middle of nowhere, so I can just collect these things. What I like to do is cut a segment out of it that's about the same size as the candle, and then literally just put the whole candle in it after I've dressed the candle. And that's how I use snakeskin in folk magic, and I use it for other things, but these gotta be short videos.
Good day, I'm Bob the Necromancer, and today we're doing an unboxing.